The massive space station called Nexus Prime hung in the darkness like a metal city. Ships from 12 different alien races floated around it, their lights blinking like angry stars. Inside the station's biggest meeting room, creatures that looked nothing like each other sat in a giant circle. Kiwan Park walked into the room with his team behind him. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. His blue uniform had the Earth symbol on it, a simple picture of their home planet. Behind him walked So-Min Lee, a woman with short black hair who moved like a soldier. Next to her was Tae-ho Kim, a young man carrying a datapad full of information about aliens. The room went quiet when the humans entered. All eyes turned to look at them. At the center of the circle sat Veltar, the leader of the Nexari people. His body looked like it was made of living crystal, and light moved through him like water. When he spoke, his voice sounded like music, but cold music. "So the young species finally comes," Veltar said. His crystal face showed no emotion. "We have been waiting." Kiwan bowed slightly, the way people did on Earth when showing respect. "Thank you for inviting us to speak." Around the circle, other alien leaders watched. There was Gorak, the war chief of the Drakmori people. He looked like a giant lizard, with red scales and sharp teeth. His yellow eyes stared at the humans like they were insects. Next to him sat Elder Zephys from the Ethereal Collective. She was very old and looked like she was made of light and shadow mixed together. She had not spoken in these meetings for many years. Chancellor Thex of the Vortani hegemony was there too. He had blue skin and 4 arms, and he kept making angry noises with his throat. The Vortani were the ones who started the war by attacking human colony ships 6 months ago. "Sit," Veltar commanded, pointing to 3 small chairs that looked tiny compared to the alien seats. Kiwan and his team sat down. The chairs were made for humans, but they were placed far from the main circle, like the humans were not really part of the group. Veltar stood up, and light flowed through his crystal body like bright blood. "We are here because of the trouble in the Kepler sector. The young species has caused much damage." So-Min Lee's hand moved slightly toward her weapon, but Kiwan touched her arm gently. She stopped moving. "The humans attacked our peaceful exploration fleets," Chancellor Thex said, his forearms waving in anger. "They destroyed 3 of our great ships with their tricks and lies." Tae-ho Kim looked at his datapad and then spoke quietly. "Your exploration fleets were attacking our colony ships. We have the records." "Silence," Gorak roared, hitting his big fist on the table. "Young species do not speak unless given permission." Kiwan's voice stayed calm. "We came here to talk. If we cannot speak, then we cannot talk." The alien leaders looked at each other. They were not used to humans acting this way. Most young species were scared when they came to Nexus Prime. Veltar made a sound like breaking glass, which was how Nexari people laughed. "Very well. Speak your words, then listen to wisdom." A floating screen appeared in the air above the circle. It showed pictures of space battles. The human ships looked small and weak next to the big alien warships. "Look at what your people did," Chancellor Thex said. "Our ships were 10 times bigger than yours. Our weapons were stronger, but you used tricks to win." "We used our brains," So-Min Lee said. "Is that against your rules?" "You used new ways of fighting that we did not expect," said Korvac, another Drakmori leader. "This is not honorable." Tae-ho Kim looked up from his datapad. "You attacked civilian ships carrying families and children. Was that honorable?" The room became very quiet. The aliens did not like being questioned by humans. Elder Zephys finally spoke, her voice like wind through old trees. "Young ones, you do not understand. We have kept peace in this galaxy for 1,000 years. We know how things must be done." "Peace for who?" Kiwan asked. "We studied your history before coming here. You have peace because everyone is afraid of you. That is not real peace." Veltar's crystal body flashed with bright light, showing he was angry. "We have called you here to accept terms for ending this conflict. You will listen." Another screen appeared in the air. It showed words written in human language. These are the terms, Veltar announced. First, all human ships must leave the Kepler sector and never return. Second, humans must pay 50,000 tons of refined metals as payment for the damage caused. Third, all future human expansion must be approved by this council. Kiwan read the terms carefully. His face showed no emotion, but his team could see his jaw get tight. Fourth, Chancellor Thex added with a mean smile, human military technology must be shared with the council so we can make sure it is not used for evil purposes. And fifth, Gorak said, showing his sharp teeth, humans must accept council. Observers on all their worlds to make sure they follow galactic law. The room waited for the human response. Most alien species would be scared by now. They would beg for better terms or cry about the unfairness. But Kiwan just sat quietly, reading the terms again. So Min Lee's face looked like stone. Tae-Ho Kim was making notes on his datapad. These terms, Kiwan said slowly, are interesting. Good, Veltar said. You understand your position. Sign the agreement and this trouble will end. I did not say we would sign, Kiwan replied. I said the terms were interesting. They show us exactly who you are. The aliens looked confused. This was not how young species usually acted. Kiwan stood up slowly. You call us here for peace talks, but you do not want to talk. You want us to surrender. You call our defense of our families an attack. You demand payment from the victims. You want to control our worlds and steal our technology. His voice stayed calm, but everyone could hear the strength in it. We came here hoping to find justice, Kiwan continued. We thought older, wiser species would want to know the truth about what happened. Instead, we find bullies who are angry that their victims fought back. Gorak jumped to his feet, his red scales shining with rage. How dare you speak to us this way? We could crush your entire species. Kiwan looked directly at the big lizard. Alien. Yes, you probably could, but you tried to crush us before, and that did not work out the way you planned. So Min Lee and Tae-Ho Kim stood up next to their leader. We will need time to think about your generous offer, Kiwan said, his voice making it clear he thought the offer was not generous at all. The human team turned and walked toward the door. The aliens watched them go, not sure what to think. Where are you going? Veltar called out, his crystal voice sharp. We are not finished. Kiwan stopped at the door and looked back. We will give you our answer tomorrow. Thank you for showing us your true faces. The door closed behind the humans, leaving the alien leaders sitting in shocked silence. In 1,000 years of galactic politics, no young species had ever spoken to them like that, and none had ever walked away. The next morning, the great meeting room on Nexus Prime buzzed with nervous energy. The alien leaders had spent all night talking about the humans. Some were angry, others were worried. None of them had slept well. Kiwan Park walked back into the room with his team. He looked the same as yesterday, calm and ready. So Min Lee walked like a soldier, her eyes watching everything. Tae-Ho Kim carried more datapads today. Veltar's crystal body was darker than yesterday, showing his bad mood. Have you come to sign the agreement? He asked without saying hello. We have come to give you our answer, Kiwan replied. Near the alien circle sat Hyejin Choi. She was from the Miran species, which looked almost like humans but with silver skin and big purple eyes. The Miran stayed neutral in most fights. Hyejin's job was to translate between species, but today she looked nervous. Kiwan walked to the center of the circle. All the alien eyes followed him. We have read your terms very carefully, he began. We talked about them all night. We even sent them back to Earth for our leaders to read. Chancellor Thex leaned forward with his forearms on the table. Good. Then you understand you have no choice. Oh, we understand perfectly, Kiwan said. We understand that you want us to give up our homes, pay you for attacking us, and become your slaves. Gorak's red scales turned brighter red. Slaves? We offer you protection. We offer you a place in the galactic community. So Min Lee stepped forward. What kind of protection requires us to give up our freedom? She pressed a button on a small device. A holographic image appeared in the air above the circle. It showed the space battle from 6 months ago. This is what really happened, So-Min said. Her voice was strong and clear. Our colony ship New Sol was carrying 5,000 families to start a new home. Your exploration fleet attacked it without warning. The hologram showed a big Vortani warship firing on a smaller human ship. The human ship was clearly not a military vessel. They were in our space, Chancellor Thex shouted. According to who? Tae-ho Kim asked, looking at his datapad. The Kepler sector was empty. No one lived there. No one claimed it. Until we came. The Galactic map shows, Veltar started to say. The Galactic map shows what you want it to show, Tae-ho interrupted. We have our own maps. We have our own records. We were there first. The hologram changed to show more battles. Each time, it was the same story. Human ships were exploring or building new homes. Alien ships attacked them. The humans fought back and won. You see these battles and call us the attackers, So-Min said. But look closer. In every fight, we were defending ourselves. Elder Zephys spoke in her ancient voice. Young species, you do not understand the greater picture. We maintain order in the galaxy. Sometimes order requires difficult choices. Like attacking families? Kiwan asked. Like stopping dangerous expansion before it becomes a threat, Gorak growled. So-Min pressed another button. The hologram now showed detailed pictures of each alien species' military ships, weapons, and fighting methods. The aliens became very quiet. This information was supposed to be secret. How did you? Veltar started to ask. We studied you, Tae-ho said simply. Before we came to space, we spent a long time watching and learning. We know how your ships work. We know how you fight. We know your weaknesses. He pointed to the Drakmori ships in the hologram. Your warriors are brave, but you follow old patterns. You do the same attacks your fathers did and their fathers before them. Gorak's yellow eyes became thin slits. Tae-ho pointed to the Vortani ships. Your technology is powerful, but you depend on it too. Much. When something new happens, you cannot adapt quickly. Chancellor Thex's blue skin turned darker blue. The Nexari use their crystal technology like magic, Tae-ho continued. But crystals break when you hit them the right way. Veltar's body flashed with angry light. You want to know why we won? So-Min asked. Because we had to learn how to fight each other first. Humans have been fighting humans for thousands of years. We learned to adapt, to change, to find new ways when old ways do not work. This is exactly why you are dangerous, Veltar said, his crystal voice ringing like a bell. You bring chaos to order. Kiwan shook his head. We bring change to stagnation. He looked around the circle at all the alien faces. Some looked angry, some looked scared, some looked confused. Do you know what we learned about you? Kiwan asked. You have been the same for 1,000 years. Same ships, same weapons, same ideas. You stopped growing. You stopped learning. We achieved perfection, Gorak roared. You achieved stagnation, So-Min replied. When you stop changing, you start dying. Yejin Choi spoke for the first time. If I may ask, what is humanity's answer to the Council's terms? Kiwan looked directly at Veltar. We reject your terms completely. The room exploded with noise. Aliens shouted in different languages. Some hit the table. Others made threatening gestures. Silence, Elder Zephys commanded, and her old voice somehow made everyone quiet. Young species, she said slowly. You do not understand what you are doing. We have destroyed entire civilizations for less than this insult. And that, Kiwan said quietly, is exactly the problem. He walked closer to the ancient alien. You rule through fear. You call it peace, but it is just everyone being too scared to move. It works, Veltar said coldly. Does it? Tae-ho asked. He showed new information on his datapad. We found records of 47 species that tried to resist your control in the last 500 years. What happened to them? The aliens did not answer. They were destroyed or forced to submit, Tae-ho continued. Not because they were evil, not because they were dangerous, because they wanted to be free. Freedom is chaos, Gorak said, but his voice was quieter now. Order without freedom is death, Somin replied. Kiwan looked around the circle one more time. You offered us a choice between slavery and destruction, but there is a third choice. What choice? Chancellor Thex asked. We walk away. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Veltar's crystal body pulsed with confused light. Walk away? You cannot walk away from the galactic community. Watch us, Kiwan said simply. He turned toward the door. Somin and Taiho followed him. If you leave these talks, Gorak shouted, you will be enemies of the entire galaxy. Kiwan stopped and looked back. If standing up for our families makes us your enemies, then we were never going to be friends anyway. You will regret this, Chancellor Thex screamed. The only thing we regret, Somin said, is believing you wanted real peace. The humans walked out of the room again. This time, they did not say they would come back. Behind them, the alien leaders sat in shocked silence. For the first time, in 1,000 years, a species had said no to them and walked away, and for the first time in 1,000 years, they did not know what to do about it. The human ship Soul's Pride sat in the docking bay of Nexus Prime like a small metal fish among giant whales. Other alien ships around it were 10 times bigger, covered in weapons and shiny armor. The human ship looked simple and plain, but its engines hummed with quiet power. Inside the ship, Kiwan Park sat at a communication desk talking to someone far away. The blue light from the screen showed his calm face as he spoke to Earth. Yes, President Kim, he said. They offered us exactly what we expected. Surrender or die. On the screen, President Daeun Kim nodded from her office on Earth. Behind her, other human leaders listened to the conversation. And your recommendation? President Kim asked. We leave, today, before they decide to make us prisoners. So-Min Lee stood near the ship's windows, watching alien security forces move around outside. They have been watching us for 2 hours, she reported. More ships arrive every few minutes. Taeho Kim looked up from his data analysis. I count 47 alien warships now. Yesterday there were only 12. President Kim's voice came through the speaker. Are they planning to attack you? Not yet, Kiwan replied, but they are getting ready for something. Suddenly the ship's communication system made a beeping sound. A new message was coming in from Nexus Prime. This is Chancellor Thex of the Fortani Hegemony, the voice said through the speakers. Human ship, you are ordered to return to the council chambers immediately. Kiwan pressed a button to reply. This is Ambassador Kiwan Park. We have diplomatic immunity. We are free to leave when we choose. Your immunity ends when you reject the council's authority. Thex's voice was angry. Return now or face consequences. Kiwan looked at his team. So-Min's hand moved to her weapon. Taeho started typing quickly on his computer. Consequences? Kiwan said into the communicator. What kind of consequences? There was silence for a moment. Then a new voice spoke. It was Veltar, the crystal alien leader. Human ambassador, please return to the chambers. We wish to discuss new terms. So-Min Lee laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. New terms? After we said no? Kiwan kept his voice calm. What new terms? Perhaps we were too harsh yesterday, Veltar said. The council is willing to reduce the metal payment to 30,000 tons, and you may keep 3 colony worlds in the Kepler sector. How generous, Taeho said quietly, still typing on his computer. Kiwan pressed the reply button again. Thank you for the offer, but our answer is still no. Another new voice came through. The speakers. This one was old and powerful. Elder Zephys was speaking. Young ones, listen to ancient wisdom. No species has ever rejected the council and survived. We have existed for millions of years. We have seen the rise and fall of 1,000 civilizations. Accept our guidance. Kiwan was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke carefully. Elder Zephys, with respect, maybe that is the problem. Maybe it is time for something new. The communication went silent. So-Min Lee moved to the pilot seat. Kiwan, we need to leave, now. More ships are coming. Through the windows, they could see massive alien warships moving into position around Nexus Prime. The human ship suddenly looked very small and alone. Tae-ho Kim's computer made a soft beeping sound. I have a message from Admiral Soo-jin Kang. She is 3 hours away with the 5th Fleet. Kiwan shook his head. Tell her to stay back. If she comes here, they will call it an act of war. What about us? So-min asked. If we leave, they might shoot us down. And if we stay, they will make us prisoners, Kiwan replied. The ship's communication system came alive again. This time it was Gorak, the big lizard warrior. Humans, you have shown courage, but courage without wisdom is just stupidity. My people respect strength, but even the strong must know when to bend. Kiwan pressed the reply button. War Chief Gorak, on Earth we have a saying. It is better to die on your feet than live on your knees. Brave words from someone sitting in a tiny ship surrounded by our fleets, Gorak replied. Yes, Kiwan said simply. Brave words. So Min started the ship's engines. The Soul's Pride began to move slowly toward the exit of the docking bay. Immediately, red warning lights flashed throughout Nexus Prime. Alien voices shouted commands in different languages. Human ship, stop immediately. Chancellor Thex's voice screamed through the speakers. You do not have permission to leave, Kiwan calmly replied. We do not need your permission. The ship moved out of the docking bay into open space. Around them, alien warships turned their weapons toward the small human vessel. Tae-ho Kim looked at his sensors. 49 ships have weapons locked on us. Any human ships nearby? So-min asked. The patrol ship Busan's Hope is 2 hours away. Captain Jin Woo-song is commanding. Kiwan opened a new communication channel. Captain Song, this is Ambassador Park. Do not approach Nexus Prime. Repeat, stay away. Captain Song's voice came through clearly. Sir, we see the alien fleet movements. Are you in danger? Possibly. But if you come here, it will make things worse. The alien communication channels erupted with angry voices. The humans could hear the alien leaders arguing with each other. Destroy them now. That was Chancellor Thex. Wait, if we kill diplomats, other species will question our honor. That was Gorak. Let them go. They will come back when they realize their mistake. That was Veltar. They will not come back, and others will follow their example. That was Elder Zephys, and her voice sounded worried. So Min Lee pushed the engines to full power. The human ship moved faster toward the edge of Nexus Prime space. Suddenly, a new voice came through the communications. It was calm and strong. This is Admiral Soo-jin Kang of the Terran Space Force. Any attack on our diplomatic vessel will be considered an act of war. Through the ship's windows, they could see new lights in the distance. Human warships were arriving. Admiral, Kiwan said quickly, I ordered you to stay back. With respect, Ambassador, my job is to protect Earth's representatives. I am doing my job. The alien communications went crazy. The leaders were shouting at each other now. The humans brought warships to peace talks, Thex screamed. We brought warships because we do not trust you, Admiral Kang replied calmly, and we were right not to trust you. Veltar's crystal voice cut through the noise. Admiral, your ship is outnumbered 50-1. Yes, Admiral Kang said, but you are not fighting just one ship. Attack us, and you fight all of humanity. All of humanity? Gorak laughed. Your entire species has maybe 100 ships. Today we have 100 ships, Admiral Kang agreed. Tomorrow we will have 200. Next month, 400. We learn fast, we build fast, and we remember our enemies. The alien communications went quiet. Elder Zephys spoke again, her ancient voice full of something that might have been fear. Young species, you do not understand what you are starting. If you reject the Council's authority, others will follow. The Galactic Order will collapse. Kiwan's ship was almost at the edge of Nexus Prime space. In a few minutes, they would be free. Elder Zephys, Kiwan said, maybe it is time for the Galactic Order to change. Change brings chaos, Veltar protested. The current order brings Slavery, Admiral Kang replied. We choose chaos over slavery. The human ships reached the edge of alien space. They were free to go. Kiwan opened the communication channel one last time. Leaders of the Galactic Council, we came here hoping for justice. Instead, we found a system built on fear and control. We reject your authority. We reject your terms. We reject your version of peace. He paused, looking back at the massive alien fleet. Humanity will find its own way forward, and we will not be alone. Every species that wants freedom will be welcome to join us. The human ships jumped to faster than light speed and disappeared. Behind them, in the meeting chambers of Nexus Prime, alien leaders sat in stunned silence. For the first time in 1,000 years, someone had said no to them and lived. The old Galactic Order had just received its first crack, and everyone knew it would not be the last. 3 months had passed since the humans walked away from Nexus Prime. In a secret meeting room on Earth, Dr. Minseok Jang stood before a large screen showing a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked human colonies. Blue dots showed alien territory. But the map had changed a lot since the peace talks. The situation is better than we hoped, Dr. Jang said to the other human leaders in the room, and worse than the aliens feared. President Da-Yoon Kim sat at the head of the table. Around her were generals, admirals, and scientists. All of them looked tired but determined. Show us the Kepler sector, President Kim said. The map zoomed in on a region of space that used to be empty. Now it was full of red dots. Human colonies, mining stations, and defensive platforms covered the area like a red web. 15 new colonies in 3 months, Dr. Jang reported. 2 million people have moved to the Kepler sector. Our automated mining systems are pulling metals and rare materials from every asteroid. Admiral Sujin Kang leaned forward. What about our shipyards? Dr. Yang pressed a button, and the screen showed massive construction platforms floating in space. Thousands of workers and robots were building new ships around the clock. We now have 3 major shipyards in Kepler. They can build a new warship every 2 days. Our industrial capacity has grown by 400%. General Woo Jin Park, Kiwan's brother, smiled grimly. The aliens thought we were weak because we had few ships. They did not understand that we simply had not built many yet. The screen changed to show alien territory. Many of the blue dots were flickering or turning different colors. This is more interesting, Dr. Yang said. The aliens are having problems. He pointed to a cluster of dots near the galaxy's edge. These are the outer rim worlds. 43 different species live there. For 1,000 years, they paid tribute to the Council and followed their orders. And now, President Kim asked. Now they are asking questions. 3 species have stopped sending tribute. 7 have requested meetings with human representatives. Major Sangwoo, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. I just returned from the Outer Rim. The species there are very interested in our ideas about freedom and independence. He stood up and walked to the screen. The Kepteri people used to give the Council half of their food production every year. When they heard humans said no to the Council, they decided to keep their food for themselves. What did the Council do? Admiral Kang asked. They sent a Vortani punishment fleet, but the Keptari had already asked for human protection. Captain Lee Hyojin was waiting for them with 2 human ships. Dr. Jang smiled. Captain Lee is very good at making friends. The Vortani decided not to attack. The screen showed more changes in alien territory. Some blue dots were now green, showing neutral worlds. A few had turned red, meaning they had joined the human alliance. The Drakmori are having internal problems, Dr. Yang continued. Their young warriors are questioning their old ways of fighting. Some have even asked to study human military tactics. President Kim looked surprised. The Drakmori want to learn from us? Their pride is hurt, General Park explained. They have always thought they were the greatest warriors in the galaxy, but humans beat them using methods they never imagined. Now they want to understand how. Major O added. War Chief Gorak's own son, Korvac, has been asking questions about human military schools. He wants to send Drakmori students to learn from us. The screen changed again, showing the crystal worlds of the Nexari. The Nexari are confused. Dr. Zhang said. For them, everything has always been about order and control. They cannot understand how humans can be strong without following their rules. What about the Vortani? Admiral Kang asked. Dr. Zhang's expression became serious. The Vortani hegemony is falling apart. The screen showed the Vortani territory. Many of the blue dots were flickering or had gone dark. 3 Vortani worlds have declared independence. 5 more have joined civil wars. Chancellor Thex has lost control of his own government. Why? President Kim asked. Because the Vortani system was built on fear, Major O explained. When humans showed that the council could be defied, the fear went away. Without fear, the Vortani had nothing to hold their empire together. General Park pointed to a cluster of dark dots. These worlds are asking for human help. They have refugees, civil wars, and no food. The Vortani government cannot help them because it is too busy fighting its own people. Admiral Kang stood up. I have ships ready to provide humanitarian aid. Medical supplies, food, and protection for refugee ships. President Kim nodded. Do it. But make it clear we are helping people, not conquering territory. Dr. Zhang changed the screen to show new information. This is what the aliens are really worried about. The map now showed communication lines between different worlds. Red lines connected human colonies, but green lines were spreading everywhere, connecting alien worlds to each other and to human space. Independent communication networks, Dr. Zhang explained. For 1,000 years, all galactic communication went through council-controlled systems. Now, species are talking directly to each other. And talking to us, Major O added. Yesterday, I received messages from 16 different species asking about trade agreements, defense pacts, and cultural exchanges. All without council approval, General Park said with satisfaction. The screen showed one more piece of information. It was a list of names and numbers. These are the results of Dr. Hei-Wan Lee's study, Dr. Zhang said. She has been analyzing the alien psychology and social structures. President Kim read the list carefully. Explain this to me in simple terms. Dr. Zhang cleared his throat. The Galactic Order was not built on strength. It was built on everyone believing it was strong. When humans showed it could be defied, that belief started to crack. He pointed to different numbers on the screen. Fear was the main tool of control, but fear only works if people think the threat is real. When humans survived defying the council, other species realized the threat might not be as real as they thought. Major O nodded. It is like the old Earth story about the Emperor's new clothes. Everyone pretended the Emperor was dressed because they were afraid to say he was naked. But once one person said the truth, everyone could see it. Admiral Kang looked at the latest intelligence reports. Speaking of truth, what is happening on Nexus Prime? Dr. Zhang's expression became almost amused. Emergency sessions every day. The council leaders are meeting constantly, trying to figure out how to respond to us. And what have they decided? President Kim asked. Nothing, Doctor, Zhang replied. They cannot agree on anything. Veltar wants to ignore us and hope we go away. Gorak wants to challenge us to honorable combat. Elder Zephys wants to negotiate. Chancellor Thex wants to destroy us completely. What about the other species? General Park asked. They are watching and waiting. The ethereal collective has been very quiet. The Keloth hive minds are having trouble making decisions because their unity is breaking down. The smaller council species are starting to choose sides. The screen showed the latest diplomatic developments. Ambassador Ji Nam appeared on the screen from her new office. Ambassador Nam, President Kim said, what is the status of the Independence Alliance? Ambassador Nam smiled from her location in the Kepler sector. 37 worlds have now joined our alliance. We have mutual defense agreements with 12 species, trade partnerships with 28, and more requests coming in every day. Any problems? Admiral Kang asked. Only good problems, Ambassador Nam replied. We have more requests for help than we can handle. More species want to join than we can process. More trade opportunities than our ships can carry. Dr. Zhang brought up one final screen. It showed predicted future scenarios. This is where we think things are going, he said. In 6 months, we estimate 50 to 70 worlds will have left Council control. In 1 year, the Council will control less than half the galaxy. President Kim studied the predictions carefully. And the Council's response? They have 3 choices, Dr. Zhang said. They can adapt and accept the new reality. They can try to destroy the independence movement with military force. Or they can retreat and try to hold on to what they still control. Which do you think they will choose? General Park asked. Dr. Zhang was quiet for a moment. I think they will try all 3 at the same time, and that will make them weaker than ever. The meeting room was silent as everyone thought about the implications. Finally, President Kim spoke. 3 months ago, we were a small species asking for justice. Now we are leading a galactic revolution. How do we make sure we do not become what we fought against? Admiral Kang answered first. We remember why we started this. We wanted freedom, not power over others. Major O nodded. We help other species find their own strength, not make them dependent on us. Ambassador Nam's voice came through the screen. We build bridges, not walls. We make partners, not subjects. President Kim looked around the room at all the human leaders. Then let us continue to be what the galaxy needs us to be. Not new masters, but good neighbors. The meeting ended, but the revolution was just beginning. 1 year after the humans walked away from Nexus Prime, the galaxy looked completely different. On the human world of New Busan in the Kepler sector, President Da-Un-Yu stood before the largest gathering of alien species in galactic history. But this time, no one sat in a circle showing who was more important than others. Everyone sat at the same level. Welcome to the first Independent Species Alliance meeting, President Yu said. Her voice was calm but strong. Today, we write new rules for how species can live together in peace. In the great meeting hall, representatives from 67 different worlds sat together. Some looked like humans. Others looked like giant insects, living crystals, or clouds of energy. But all of them had chosen freedom over fear. Ki-Wan Park, now leading humanity's galactic relations, watched from the side of the hall. Next to him sat old friends and new allies. War Chief Korvac of the Drakmori had brought his best warriors to learn human military tactics. Captain Hyejin Choi of the Mirans translated between species that had never spoken directly to each other before. 1 year ago, President Yu continued, humans were told to surrender or be destroyed. We chose a third option. We walked away. Today, we see the results of that choice. On the screens around the hall, maps showed the new galaxy. Green dots marked Independent Alliance worlds. Blue dots showed the remaining Council territory. Red dots marked worlds still in conflict. The green dots now covered more than half the galaxy. Admiral Sujin Kang stood up to give the military report. The Vortani hegemony no longer exists, she announced. Chancellor Thex fled to the Outer Rim 3 months ago. The Vortani homeworld has asked to join our alliance. Murmurs of surprise filled the hall. The Vortani had been the most aggressive supporters of the old Council system. What about their fleets? Asked Captain Jinwoo Song from his seat near the front. Most Vortani ships have been converted to cargo vessels and medical ships, Admiral, Kang replied. They are now helping with refugee relief operations. Major Sang-woo, who had spent the year building alliances in the Outer Rim, gave the next report. 43 species have completely left Council control, he said. 15 more are in the process of declaring independence. The Council now directly controls only 12 worlds. And the original Council leaders? President Yu asked. Major O's expression was complicated. Veltar and the Nexari have retreated to their crystal worlds. They say they are waiting for the chaos to end. Gorak and most of the Drakmori have joined our alliance. Elder Zephys disappeared 6 months ago. No one knows where she went. Dr. Hae-Wan Lee, the xenopsychologist who had studied galactic power, structures, stood up to speak. The old system died the day humans walked away from Nexus Prime, she said. It was built on fear and intimidation. When those tools stopped working, the system had nothing left. She gestured to the diverse crowd in the hall. What we are building here is different. It is based on choice, cooperation, and mutual respect. That makes it much stronger. From the audience, a new voice spoke up. It was Fleet Master Korvac of the Drakmori. Human friends, Korvac said in his deep, rumbling voice. My people have learned much from you. We thought strength came from following old traditions. You showed us that real strength comes from adapting to new challenges. He stood up, his red scales gleaming under the lights. The Drakmori warrior code now includes human teachings. We call it flexible strength. It means being strong enough to change when change is needed. Applause filled the hall. The idea that the proud Drakmori warriors had learned from humans still amazed many species. Captain Hyejin Choi stood up next. The Miran Confederation wishes to thank humanity for showing us that neutrality is not always the right choice. Sometimes you must pick a side. We are proud to have picked the side of freedom. More applause. The Mirans had been neutral for centuries, but they had become some of humanity's strongest supporters. A new figure entered the hall. Everyone turned to look as Ambassador Ji Hyan Nam walked in with someone unexpected. It was a Nexari crystal being, but not Veltar. May I introduce Ambassador Krystal of the Nexari Progressive Movement, Ji-Hai said. He represents Nexari who want to join the new Galactic community. The crystal being's body pulsed with nervous light as he spoke. Not all Nexari agree with Veltar's isolation. Many of us want to learn from other species instead of ruling them. This was huge news. The Nexari had never had different political groups before. They had always acted as one unified crystal mind. President Yu welcomed the Nexari ambassador. All who choose freedom over control are welcome here. The meeting continued with reports from across the galaxy. Commander Ju Young Seo described her exploration missions beyond the galactic rim, where new worlds waited to be discovered by free species working together. Dr. Min Seok Jang showed economic data proving that free trade between alliance worlds had made everyone richer and stronger than the old tribute system ever had. But the most important moment came when President Yu announced the new alliance charter. We have written rules for our alliance, she said, but these rules are different from the old council laws. She held up a simple document. First, no species may force its will on another. Second, all species have the right to govern themselves, as they choose. Third, conflicts will be resolved through discussion, not force. Fourth, any species may leave the alliance at any time. The last rule caused surprised murmurs. No galactic government had ever allowed members to leave freely. Why would you let people leave? Asked a representative from the insect-like Chitari species, Kiwan Park answered. Because if people stay only because they are forced to stay, they are not really allies. They are prisoners. President Yu continued reading. Fifth, the alliance exists to protect freedom, not to create an empire. We will defend any species that asks for help against oppression, but we will never conquer worlds to liberate them. The hall was very quiet as everyone thought about these words. These rules will make us weak, said a voice from the back. It was a representative from one of the newer alliance members. Admiral Kang stood up to respond. The old council was strong because it forced obedience through fear. Where is that strength now? Real strength comes from people choosing to work together. The vote on the alliance charter was unanimous. 67 worlds agreed to the new rules. As the meeting ended, Kiwan Park walked outside to look at the stars. New Busan was a beautiful world with 2 moons and rings around the sun. But tonight the stars held his attention. Major So-Min Lee joined him outside. Are you thinking about Nexus Prime? She asked. I'm thinking about how far we have come, Kaiwan replied. 1 year ago we were 3 people in a small room, surrounded by enemies who wanted us to surrender. And now? Now we have friends across the galaxy. We have allies who chose to stand with us. We have built something new. Tae-Ho Kim walked up to join them. The intelligence reports say Veltar is still holding emergency council meetings on Nexus Prime. He keeps asking the remaining members what to do about us. What did they decide? So-Min asked. Nothing, Tae-Ho replied with a smile. They cannot agree on anything. Some want to attack us, others want to negotiate. Most just want to hide and hope we go away. Kiwan looked up at the stars where human and alien ships moved together in peaceful cooperation. They still do not understand, he said quietly. This was never about defeating them. It was about building something better. Something better than ruling through fear? So-min asked. Something better than ruling at all, Kiwan replied. The best leaders are the ones who help others become strong enough that they do not need leaders. Above them, a mixed fleet of human and alien ships prepared to leave for another exploration mission. They would visit new worlds, meet new species, and offer them the same choice humanity had made a year ago. The choice between freedom and fear, between cooperation and control, between building bridges and building walls. The galaxy had chosen to build bridges, and the future had never looked brighter.